So you look like a smart person, and I guess I'll pose the question. If you are smart, then you've probably been asking yourself this question. Should I invest in real estate, or should I invest in a business? So let's talk about the pros and cons of both. And some of you might be thinking, wait a second, isn't real estate a business and a business is real estate? Let's get into it. Number one, a business. So what is a business? Well, it's a legal entity. A business is something that you take control of, something that you're proud of, something that will succeed in solving one of your ultimate dreams. And if your business is anything other than that, then I think you don't quite understand what a business is. A business should be something that you know, like, and understand. A business, first and foremost, must be something that solves someone else's problem. The bigger the problem, well, the more opportunity you have to make with your business. Because if your business doesn't solve a problem, well, you're going to be out of business. So those are some of the pros and cons of owning a business. The other thing about a business is don't start a business because you want to be rich. Start a business because you understand the problem it solves. Because if you start a business to get rich, guess what you're not going to be? Rich. You're going to be broke because your motive, your drive is all wrong. And you know, a lot of people start a business not only because they want to get rich, because they think it's cool. Oh, I'm a business owner. Instead of saying you work the 9 to 5 or you work for someone else, I'm the man, I'm the businessman. You know what those people also are? Out of business, okay? Your motive has to be right for a business. So what is it that you're really good at? What are you passionate about? What problem do you want to solve for people or for humanity? How big of a problem is it? Now, once you've determined all of those, and if it does do those, if it really solves a problem, a legitimate problem, and you think that that business can be scaled, the next thing you need to understand is you're going to be working really hard. So owning a business doesn't mean immediately you just hire a bunch of employees and you just sit back and you lead, from the back. No. A good business owner leads from the front. And I can always relate to business being like a pack of wolves in a heavy tundra snow. Okay, who's out front? Well, I'll tell you. It's the strongest lead wolf. It's the alpha wolf that's out front. Why? Because wolves understand that you have to lead by example. And when the lead wolf, the alpha wolf, gets tired, the alpha wolf is then taken over by the second in charge. When the second in charge gets tired, it is taken over by the third in charge. You see, there's an order there. You notice how the lead wolf, the alpha, the one that's busted its butt its whole life to earn that alpha position, you notice how that wolf isn't in the back? So all the business owners that you see that lead from the back, that make everybody else go out there, those are the ones that don't have a business. Those are the ones that will not make it. Because there's not a single business owner that I've seen that has been wildly successful that doesn't lead from the front, that hasn't started at the bottom and gone to the top, that isn't afraid that when the toilet's backed up to grab the plunger and fix the toilet before asking somebody. The business owner that will be out of business is the one that grabs the plunger, goes over and gives it to the employee and says, hey, the toilet's backed up. Can you go fix that? That isn't leading by example. You see, people take note of the little things, not just the big things. And if you're not demonstrating those little things, your business isn't going to make it. So let's move on to number 2. Real estate. Well, most people understand that real estate's a good investment. If not, real estate might be one of the greatest investments of all time. More millionaires are made from real estate than any other business out there. But real estate can also be a business. Matter of fact, if you're owning real estate, you should be owning real estate inside of a business, inside of an entity, primarily because of protection and liability protection and things of that nature, but also because you want to run it like a business. We talked about all the bad things that come along with a business. Now add all the bad things that come along with real estate. Real estate, there's never not going to be a problem. In real estate, the one thing I will promise you will happen in time is you will get sued. Okay, so those are 2 very big cons. Real estate will always throw you a left hook straight across the face. Real estate is notorious. When things seem like they're going so good, then all of a sudden, they're not. So, although real estate can be an unbelievable business, it can make you a ton of money. It is, by all accords, one of the greatest investments of all time. It is a lot of work, and it needs to be operated and treated like a business. So if you don't know how to run a business, then why are you in real estate? Number 3. Business would provide you with liability protection and tax advantage structures to hold the real estate. I covered this a little bit when I was talking about the real estate, but this is another thing that really takes a little bit more time to dive deep into. Real estate, because I said one of the certains in real estate is that you're going to get sued. So if you own real estate in your personal name because you didn't want to monkey with the business and you said, I'm too good for that. I don't need a business to do this. Because a business means now you got to file tax returns. Now you got to be doing bookkeeping. You got to run it like a business. And maybe that's not your thing. So you just buy real estate. So somebody on a cold winter day, I live in Buffalo, New York. These are pretty much every day in the winter. It's icy and someone slips and falls right in front of your rental. And then they sue you because you didn't salt the sidewalks. But then you come back and you say, I did salt it, and that's why there was ice. It melted the ice and then it refroze. Doesn't matter. They sue you. If they win, and you own these personally, they're going after everything, folks. They're going to go after your house, your cars, your bank accounts, your money that you have invested. They're going to go after everything. But if that real estate was in a business, in an entity, it offers a level of liability protection. So now that same scenario, person slips and falls. You go back and forth. I did ice, but then the ice refroze. You still lose. They can only sue you for the assets of that business. Which then there's additional things you can do to protect yourself, like get insurance. You could have an insurance on the property that then protects you. So now all you might have is just a deductible. So you see how these two come together? It's not, is a business better than real estate? It's they are one. Your real estate should be owned and operated in a business. It should be run like a business because it is a business. Let me tell you a story, and this is definitely one that still upsets me. Back when I first got into real estate, I developed a strip mall, and this was back in 2018. And I developed a strip mall, and it was out of a dilapidated paint store, and it was to hold my retail store, my snowboard, skateboard shops called Fat Man Board Shops. And I loved that place. I put my heart and soul into it. Gosh, I remember many nights when we were developing that, I would be there. God, I'd be there from 8 in the morning until 3 at night, or 3 in the morning. Gosh, 8 in the morning, 3. I was barely sleeping. I would go there and I just would never go home because that's just how much I really wanted to get it done. And when we got it open, we hired this company, and I only hired contractors that had insurance and were legitimate contractors, but I needed to put a sign up, okay? Because once your business is done, you got to have a sign on it. So I hired this company. Very simple. It wasn't super high. You could get to the height you needed to on scaffolding. And I wasn't there that day, but I got the dreaded call. The contractor set up scaffolding and fell off the scaffolding and broke his wrist. And I heard this, and at first I'm like, I'm a pro snowboarder. I've broken my wrist many times. Like, it sucks. It hurts a little bit, but like not really a life ender, not really a big bad one. Like, they'll put a cast on you and you'll heal. But then about 30, 40 days after, I got the letter. And anytime a letter shows up certified mail, it's usually not good. So this letter came in and it was a lawsuit. I was being sued. And first thing I said is, what did I do wrong? Like, I hired this company to put up a sign. The guy set the scaffolding up, and by now we'd found out the scaffolding was set up wrong, and he fell. And it didn't matter. So long story short, that man did sue me. Sued my company, okay? Because my company owned the plaza. Sued my company, and because of I'll call it a loophole or whatever you want, something in New York called the ladder law can't be beat. The insurance company that I basically hired to provide insurance for my business was fighting this thing. So the insurance company hired private investigators to follow this guy around because he just broke his wrist. He was back to work in 2 weeks. Back to work, doing work. Sure, he had a cast on, and they could prove that. They had pictures, they had video, they could prove that the man went back to work. So he was suing, and just so you all know, he was suing for something like $1 million. Why? Because that was how much the insurance cap was. How much do you think he got? Even though the insurance company proved that he was back to work, like it wasn't a severe thing, all the negligence fell on him for setting the scaffolding up wrong, but it didn't matter because of that ladder law. He won. My insurance policy had to pay him out something like $800,000. But I had to pay nothing. And that was because that real estate was owned inside of my entity. That was the only piece of real estate the entity owned. And I had insurance on that real estate to protect me for something like this. So I didn't have to hire attorneys. The insurance company hired attorneys. I didn't have to hire these private detectives to go around and video them. The insurance company did. The insurance company did the heavy lifting because I prepared, because I was taught how to do this. So folks, if you're going to run a business, especially a business in real estate, know what you're doing. Don't cut corners. Imagine if I had bought that strip mall and not done it in an entity. Everything else would have been problematic. Imagine if I hadn't gone with the insurance or bought good insurance because I wanted the cheap stuff. What would that have cost me? Folks, that doesn't happen to everybody, but it will happen to some of you. Make sure you're prepared and run your business like a business. If you like this video, then you'll love this one right here. Can I buy an investment property with no deposit? Well, if you want to know how that works, then watch that video. And while you're at it, subscribe to this channel. Click that little alerts button up at the top so that every single time we put out a new video, you're notified. We'll see you on the next one.